Meeting of Monday, August 10th, 2026. I will mention that if anyone in the audience has difficulty hearing, we do have audio devices available in the back of the room at the Concord TV booth where Mike has been waving his hand. These are headphones that are available to help augment the sound and help with your hearing if you need them. Will you all please stand with me and say the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilor Brown. Here. Mayor Champlin.
Present.
Councilor Davey.
Excused.
Councilor Fennessy.
Excused.
Councilor Foote.
Present.
Councilor Grady Sexton. Here. Councilor Horn. Here. Councilor Caleb. Here. Councilor Keach.
Here.
Councilor Kretovic. Here. Councilor Kurtz. Here. Councilor Schlosser.
Here.
Councilor Schultz. Here. Councilor Sekou.
Excused.
And Councilor Todd.
Here.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the meeting minutes of our July 13th City Council meeting.
Move approval. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is a correction of the June 4th, 2026 City Council meeting, which was requested by Councilor Brown. This concerns recusals by Councilor Brown and Councilor Caleb during our June 4th City Council meeting and vote on the budget. Councilor Caleb had spoken to me prior to that meeting indicating her intent to recuse herself from any items that pertained to the Thrive Resource Center. For some reason at 11:30 at night, I failed to mention that and to include that in the minutes after I forget how many hours of meetings. Therefore, I am going to move that the official minutes of the June 4th, 2026 City Council meeting be corrected to accurately reflect that no recusals occurred by removing all references stating that Councilor Brown advised Mayor Champlin that she was recusing herself from voting on all items related to the Concord Police Department. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Ayes have it. The motion is passed. That next brings us to item number 7,
Point of order, Your
which
Honor.
is, Madam.
You didn't address the part, were you going to change the minutes to reflect that you spoke with Councilor Caleb prior to the meeting? Because there still were no recusals
Sure.
that occurred during that.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, it's my pleasure to invite our Executive Counselor, Counselor Karen Leo Hill, to come forward and give us an update on what's going on with our Executive Council District. Greetings. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much. And it's nice to be with all of you, councilors and mayor. I was a city councilor in Lebanon for 20 years prior to running for executive council, and so I have tremendous respect and appreciation for all of the work and especially the many hours that you put in on behalf of the public and our shared constituents. I am here to give you a quick update. I know you have a long meeting ahead of you, but I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you. The Executive Council has been called the most important office you've never heard of. And typically, I am explaining to people what the Executive Council does. And so I know many of you do know the Executive Council, but folks who are watching or who are listening may not. And so in brief, I think of the Executive Council actually a lot like a city council, just for the entire state. I use the word CARS when I talk about the Executive Council. We're the only, first of all, I should say, we're the only state that has an Executive Council like ours. We're the only bicameral executive branch in the country. All states have a governor. We have a governor and then 5 executive councilors. And the governor has the power to put things on the agenda, but she doesn't get a vote. And the 5 of us get to vote, but we don't get to have any choice on what's on the agenda. And so in that way, we are sharing power and we are a check and balance on the governor. I use the word CARS when I talk about the Executive Council because we vote on contracts, all state spending over $10,000, which is all states funding. A is for appointments. The way it works in New Hampshire is that the governor makes nominations for important boards and committees, commissioners, all judges, and the executive council votes on those confirmations. R is for roads. We are responsible for managing the state's infrastructure, which is a lot of roads, but also bridges, dams, prisons, and that's something I want to talk about in just a moment. And S, so contracts, appointments, roads, and lastly, and roads, including the state's 10-year highway plan, which I also am going to talk about briefly. And lastly, S is for services. We do a lot of constituent services, as I know all of you are also familiar with. And so I certainly want you to know that if you have any constituents who are coming to you with questions or concerns, or if the city as a constituent, I'm here to serve, whether it's individuals or organizations or municipalities. I am here to be a liaison with state government. A couple of quick topics I wanted to talk to you about was ICE, the 10-year plan, the men's prison, and property taxes. So I come to you this evening. I was just in downtown Keene, where there was a gathering of the community and a number of organized by local elected officials, because this morning there was an ICE presence and a detention of some kind. I don't know the facts of it, other than there have been firsthand reports and eyewitness accounts of ICE presence in Keene. Also over the weekend, I have confirmed that there was also ICE activity in Lebanon on Friday, and so I think it's fair to say that it appears that ICE is now becoming more active in New Hampshire and potentially targeting larger sized communities. And so I share that information with you. I don't believe that the city of Concord is a party to the 287G agreement. Is that correct?
That's right.
Correct. Okay. The state of New Hampshire is, and I have been in communication with the Attorney General's office about what the parameters are of our state police interactions with ICE. So I'll be sharing some information, and I think I see my perspective as that it's important for the public to understand what is happening. People are concerned for their safety. We've seen in other places that ICE's presence actually makes people less safe. And so I'm here to try and ask questions and get answers for the public. Regarding the state's 10-year highway plan, as you all know, this is the 10-year plan that really addresses state roads and bridges. There is always far more work to be done than there are funds to do them with. And so this document is updated every 2 years on a rolling basis. And over this last year, I know many of you were able to attend or followed the 10-year plan update. We actually had to cut $300 million of projects from the next version of the 10-year plan because there simply are not adequate funds. One of the ideas that was considered was a $1 increase to the toll that would cover funds for turnpike projects, including the Bow Concord Highway Safety Improvement Project that's been in discussions for a very long time, as well as a very significant exits 5 and 6 safety improvement project in Manchester. So the legislature ended up passing the 10-year highway plan, but also passed it with a toll increase. As a result, the governor, who has indicated publicly prior that she was opposed to a toll increase, even though it would only affect out-of-state residents, the Department of Transportation had figured out a way to make it so that New Hampshire residents would not be, New Hampshire Easy Pass holders would not be subject to the toll increase. She vetoed the 10-year highway plan. And so as a result, I know some folks have been wondering, what is the status? Status right now is that the previous plan remains in place. That's what the Department of Transport, that's what the Attorney General has been advising, is that the previous plan remains in place. So ironically, it's a plan that was actually $300 million oversubscribed. So we're now in a place where we have a less realistic 10-year plan on the books. We will see. Veto day is coming up, so who knows? There will still be developments ongoing. But I do think that I wanted to raise this with you because the status of the Bow Concord project is enmeshed in these discussions. It will not come to pass. The construction funds are simply not there unless there is an increase to the tolls, which has not taken place for 20 years now. It's been $1 at Hooksett for 20 years now. So that's on my radar, and I will share information as it becomes available. The men's prison. You all know, but it's been new to me over the last year and a half to learn more about the conditions of the men's prison, which are really quite atrocious. And the need to replace it is clear. I had a tour last year, and then the governor and the executive council had a tour of the men's prison together about 6 months ago. And the consensus was that something needs to be done. The legislature has appropriated funds to complete a study. However, the executive council, on a 4-to-1 vote, voted down the study, the contract to hire the consultant to do the study to come up with options and pricing for what will be the largest capital project in our state's history. At the time, a few years ago, it was estimated to be $600 million. The executive council voted down the study because they wanted to see if it could be done in a more cost-effective way. I raised objections or concerns because the more you put off these kinds of projects, the higher the costs go. And we're seeing significant escalation in costs on all kinds of construction projects, as you know well. And so I have concerns that putting it off will raise costs. However, what this does do is it potentially does give us an opportunity to reconsider what might happen on the campus of the men's prison. I know that the city of Concord, since this is within your jurisdiction, I know that I think I have read, and I don't know exactly where, that the city has been opposed to the prison. So I'm here to say that I would appreciate opening up a conversation so that I can understand the interests of the city of Concord, so that if there are any changes that could be considered, that I can advocate as best as possible. So that's the men's prison. I also have had a meeting. I should also say the town of Bow is also my constituent. And when I met with them, I would say in the last several months, and I know this is not news to you, but they are interested, and they certainly made it clear to me that they were interested in securing some intermunicipal agreements with you regarding disposal of wastewater, I do believe. So I am interested in,
They want the good water.
They want the good water. Okay, the good water. So an intermunicipal agreement for good water. I guess they'll take care of the disposal, but you know more, and hopefully you can. I just want to put it on the record that I am also here.
Make sure you're on firm footing, Councilor.
Thank you. Thank you. And lastly, property taxes. You know, as someone who spent 20 years serving at the local level, and now almost 2 years at the state level, I can tell you that the common refrain that I hear from people is that property taxes are just too high. And what I am increasingly concerned about is that this issue is being politicized in a way that I have not seen, that has not really happened previously, where I see right now that local officials are being blamed for high property taxes, when the fact is that the state has been continuously downshifting costs to cities and towns and school districts over the last 50 years. And the true burden of property taxes and property tax relief, the solution for property tax relief is really something that the state, I think it's beyond time for the state to address this. And one of the things I really cherished about serving at the local level is that it was not partisan. I mean, I think Manchester and Nashua maybe are elected on a partisan basis, but they're not.
They're all nonpartisan.
They're all nonpartisan.
Technically.
Okay. Well, in Lebanon, they are technically and also in spirit nonpartisan. I think most people recognize that there are not partisan solutions to water and wastewater and landfills and where we send our trash and how we pay for our roads. And yet this issue of property taxes I see becoming politicized. And so I have made it my mission to go on the road for part of the last 6 months and to share with folks about how over the last 15 years alone, the state has downshifted over $3 billion of costs onto the backs of local property taxpayers. And so I'm not going to give you my 30-minute spiel here, but I think that's an important thing. I guess I just want you to know that I've got your back because I know that we're all really struggling and everyone is doing the best with what we're handed down from the state legislature, unfortunately. And so there you go. That's my list. I have my card, which I will share around with all of you. And if I can be of assistance and of service to you and your constituents, I would invite you to call on me.
Thank you, Councilor. Any questions for Councilor Leo Hill? Councilor Kretovic?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one suggestion for your notebook. Concord is the only city that has our school and city council separated. And so when we talk about property taxes, we are talking about only the city portion. However, the weight of our school taxes in both of the school districts that are here have become overburdensome to the point where our residents are being crushed.
Absolutely.
So
Lebanon is the same. There are actually only 2 school districts, I think, in the state that have where the school districts are dependent on the city. Most cities have separate. Lebanon has a separate city and school. 2/3 across the state, about 2/3 of the average property tax bill is public schools. So it certainly is the elephant in the room in this discussion about.
We don't set their budget. We have nothing to do with their budget.
Correct. But they are being similarly crushed by the decisions being made at the state level to, for example, the biggest one is eliminating the state's contribution to retirement, eliminating the state's contribution to firefighters and police officers and teachers. That has been $2 billion on local property taxpayers in the last 15 years alone. So thank you for that clarification.
Any other questions? Councilor Brown?
Yes, just in regards to the prison, I'm not sure what the current population is now, but I do know that as of January, the entire incarcerated population in all of New Hampshire was 1,990. The census block for the men's prison states 2246, but that is incorrect. That is not the population at that location. 2246 is the total incarcerated population in 2020. So I know they're looking at a 1,500 bed prison. I don't know, I think it's the capacity there is only 1,400. So, you know, I would be curious if we really need, if New Hampshire really needs such a large prison. So if you could look into that, correcting that census block population, that'd be great.
So 2 issues.
Yes,
One is the census block
is incorrect.
making sure that that's accurate.
Right.
And that would be the men's prison and the women's prison. They're both in the same.
Well, that number,
block?
yes,
Okay.
yes, I confirmed with DOC, Department of Corrections, that the 2246 reflects all of New Hampshire's incarcerated people.
Yes.
Not just that prison.
Is that what, but you said the census block shows that
The
it's,
census block says that, the census block from 2020.
oh, so it put all of,
It
it
put
put
all
all
of
of
New
the
Hampshire
incarcerated
in
people
Concord,
into
in
Concord.
that location.
I see what you're saying.
And
Okay.
that prison, I think their capacity is only 1,400. I do not believe they are at capacity, so I don't necessarily think we need a 1,500 bed prison.
Which is another, which is
Is the
the
second
second
issue.
issue.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
and I have that same, I think we need to make sure that we are doing good forecasting to make
Awesome.
sure that we are not overbuilding. That is definitely, I think, a really important factor for the
And
future.
just aside, I would prefer that it's not in Concord. That's just me personally.
Thank you.
Councilor Kurtz, Councilor Schultz, I'm sorry, Councilor.
Thank you. So glad you're here today. I was kind of hoping you would do the 30-minute version because I think that is really informative. If we wanted to find that, though, where can we find your
I
30
have a slide presentation. I'd be happy to share it and send it out to all of you.
That would be great. And then my second question is about, you know, I realize we don't have anything to do with our school budgets in our 2 school districts, but do you have a sense, or is there a way we can find out how many students that would be going to public school are receiving the voucher money? I think it's like $4,000 a student or something like that. to go to private school on taxpayer dollars, how do we find out how many people in Concord are getting that taxpayer money to go to private school?
That is a great question. I certainly can ask the Department of Education. I would imagine that they have statistics on that. We do know that 90% of the students who are using those vouchers, that they are not leaving public school to use it, that they were already attending private school or religious school, and in fewer cases, homeschooling. So 90% of those funds that are leaving our public school systems are going to people, to families who, quite honestly, didn't need it. And that was one of the consequences of eliminating the income requirement. It was originally started as a way to support, kids maybe who were falling through the cracks and low-income families, and then it was obviously changed. So it's having a greater, over $50 million in the last year alone went out in vouchers, and 90% of that was to families who were already sending their kids to private school. I'd be happy to look into the statistics for the city of Concord. The 2 school districts, I know that. There are 2 school districts in the city of Concord.
good.
I
Very
will look
good.
into that.
Thank you.
Councilor Leo Hill, if you care to share the slide deck, you can with us. You can just send it to City Clerk Janice Bonifant,
Great.
and she can circulate it to the City Council.
Thank you very much. And actually, we'll leave a question for you. I also just received now I'm echoing. I just received a copy of a letter that was sent from the cities of Manchester, Nashua, and Portsmouth, from their city clerks to the Secretary of State, asking for guidance on the HB 1300 question that is going to be on the ballot. Apparently, the wording of the ballot language doesn't match the process in those cities, and so those city clerks are asking for guidance. I will send you that letter to see. I'm curious to know if it's also a similar concern here in the city of Concord.
Thank you.
Super.
Great.
Well, thank you very
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Karen.
Counselor.
I hope you'll come back.
That brings us to the consent calendar portion of our meetings. I'll note that excuse me, items 22 and 23 have been pulled from the consent calendar. For anyone in the audience who's interested in those 2 items, I'll mention that they will be taken up at the end of this evening's business. May I have a motion to approve the consent?
So
Councilor,
Second?
moved and seconded. Councilor Brown?
Yes, I'm recusing myself from consent item number 17, as my husband is a police officer.
Thank you, Councilor. Are we ready for the vote? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The consent calendar is adopted. This moves us to our public hearing phase of our meeting. Madam City Clerk, item number 27.
26A. Want to start?
Oh, I'm
Same
sorry.
thing,
I
right?
was going to action. I'm sorry. Thank you. 26A. That's what happens when you take a vacation.
A well-deserved one. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I, General Code, Chapter 14, Morals and Conduct.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager?
I would like to call the city solicitor up to discuss this issue, please. Sorry about that.
Demoted him?
I think I just got demoted.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Probably deserved it. So, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. The ordinance before you is a result of legislative changes that took place last year. The legislature passed RSA 178-33 through 38, which authorized social districts in New Hampshire. The way that the legislation was structured, municipalities needed to opt in through a ballot initiative, and Concord placed the question on the ballot last November, and it passed, allowing the city, and specifically the city council, to establish social districts within the city. Under that legislation, social districts are areas that are defined and bounded, where individuals can carry alcoholic beverages between licensed establishments. So those establishments that already have liquor licenses they can serve within designated receptacles, and it allows the patrons to go out in that bounded area and enjoy their beverage while walking around. So as we noted, the city indicated an interest in doing so by passing the ballot question. And the question then became, if we were going to press forward with social districts, how do we go about implementing that? And so the Public Safety Advisory Board has been reviewing how to go about that implementation. And they worked with our office to basically look at what would the legal framework be for that. So the way that the ordinances read right now, there's a general prohibition on consuming alcohol in public. There are exceptions to that, obviously in areas where there are licenses. So if you think of the patios of particular establishments, we have an exception for nonprofits, which is what we do for market days every year. We have beer gardens that are set up under that exception. But we would need to, within the ordinance, create an exception for social districts. We would also need to set up a process for how social districts would come before the council and would get review and approval. So what you have in front of you is the proposal that was, we worked with the Public Safety Advisory Board, and it is very simply an enabling ordinance. There's still a lot of work to be done. So this would be step one in a multi-step process before we would move forward with actual social districts. So what the ordinance in front of you proposes to do is, one, create the legal exception to allow social districts in the city. Two, to ask code administration to create an application and enforcement policy that would come back before you for your review and approval of how we're actually going to get applications in and then decide what the rules are going to be, the maintenance plan as it is laid out in state law. And then three, once we have that set up, how our application is going to be received and reviewed. And in the ordinance as written right now, those would go through an initial review at the Public Safety Advisory Board, where they could hold a hearing if they so chose, or get public input at that point, and then send a recommendation to the City Council. So this is, again, it would be, what you have in front of you is a first step in the process, enabling those social districts, and there would still be other aspects that council would have to review and approve in order for us to get to a place where these would be operational. So happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding the ordinance in front of you, or the law, or the process.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Conforti? Councilor Brown.
Yes, I noticed that a number of items on the agenda are typically referred to a committee. The council has decided that this is something we want to address. I don't believe that the council actually referred this to the Public Safety Board. Is that correct?
I am not aware of how the Public Safety Advisory Board began their deliberations on this.
Any other follow-up?
Yes, perhaps I could ask the chair of the Public Safety Board. I know that there was conversation publicly that you had said it should be referred. Do you recall a time,
Counselor, what's your concern?
was this referred to the Public Safety Board?
I'm just wondering what you're
The
what you're getting
process.
toward.
The process. I'm looking at other items that are referred to the Public Safety Board and have been referred.
Thank you.
And I'm
The Public
wondering
Safety
when this was
Advisory Board-
referred.
Sure. The Public Safety Advisory Board spent several months working on this, and that was generated through discussion. And I'm not sure if there was a formal recommendation, but there doesn't need to be a formal recommendation for the Public Safety Advisory Board to take up any items. Thank you.
I think that the counselor is confusing letters and requests from members of the public, which are referred to various committees. Any other questions for Mr. Conforti? I'm sorry, Councilor Caleb.
Yes, just a quick one. So is this saying that the city council would have to take a vote on every application that comes forward for a social district?
So we would, the city council is the party that has to establish the social district. So if we had licensees that wanted to establish a particular district, yes, it would have to come before you in order to get approval.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor
Follow
Burks.
up to that. And code will write a draft of the policy and then bring it to us. So, for example, if code said we would have the power to then determine if we're approving something to happen annually, or to say that we want to review it every iteration.
Correct. That is
Okay.
something that I think is left open to the build out of the policy in terms of what level of whether you wanted to approve once and then allow it to stay as it is, even intermittently, or if you want people to come back to you every single time there's going to be a social district center.
Thank you.
Councilor Kretovic and then Councilor Caleb.
Thank you. Just for clarity's sake, this is no different than if somebody was going to do a permit for a street closure, or if somebody was going to do an event permit, or if somebody was going to do a parade permit, or a banner permit. These all run through code enforcement, and the Public Safety Board was recommending that they oversee this process because they're already familiar with this process. Do I have that correct?
That's correct. I think that they were looking at that as analogous processes, and code usually does the policy and the application process, and PSAB obviously does review those and have oversight of those. And so I think in looking at this, from my understanding of being in those discussions, they were looking at this as analogous to those types of events that you were just talking about.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Caleb.
Yes. And so similar, I guess, to all of those permits and things like that, would there be like fee structures, like application fees, and okay, is that determined by council?
That would be determined by council. So
Okay.
when code would come back before you, they would have an application process, and that would have the application itself, the enforcement process that they would have, and then it would have a fee structure. Again, council in this ordinance is maintaining complete control over this. This is, again, an enabling step to carve out in the law the ability to go forward with these social districts, and then asking code to put together a process for you to review with regard to that.
Thank you.
Great. Councilor Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is maybe a question for you. But, the process then, if we reach the point of an application applied for that is being presented to the City Council, that we would have the ability then to hold a public hearing so the public would actually be able to provide input before we would make a decision about any particular application for a social district, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, do we have, I understand that Laconia has a social district. Do we have any information about how that's going?
I did reach out. It went into effect in, I think, Memorial Day weekend. And I did reach out to Laconia a few weeks in, and from what I understood, that it had been quiet. It had been a success to that point. I have not spoken to them since then, or I may check in with them at the end of the summer to see what other learnings we can have from that.
Follow-up?
Would it be possible to could you forward that to the entire council, the results of that conversation?
I can, we'll report it to the city manager and let the city manager determine how to get that information to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Conforti.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this item? Yes, sir, please. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. My name is Ben Greenslade. I live at 40 South State Street. So I just want to say thank you to all of you and the mayor, but most importantly the voters for approving this. I know it was a pretty close vote. I think it got about 52%, but I think this is a great opportunity for the city. And I just want to say personally, so I used to work for the legislature. I worked for the nonpartisan Office of Legislative Services, and I was involved in the drafting process for this law, this series of laws. And I think this is an awesome opportunity for the city. The law itself is pretty vague. The city just really has the responsibility to make sure that licensees put either a sticker on the glasses, or that they have a label on them that says 21 only. You know, it says the R or place that they got the drink from, and the city just needs to designate a certain area. and that area needs to have signs that say you can't go past this point with these drinks. But other than that, it's really up to the city council to decide how they want to approach this. So you can set date or time limits. You can do it year-round. You can do it like Laconia, where they do it for weekends in a area downtown. And so I think this is a great opportunity, and this is a rare opportunity from the legislature that has done a lot of bad things for local government over the years. And I think that this is a rare opportunity, and the city should seize it. I also want to say that, I think that not having it in place by market days was a missed opportunity. I think this is a real draw. I think this is a real opportunity for local businesses to see, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars of additional revenue. And I think the city can approach it however they want. And so I think that this is great that this process is moving forward. And I really hope that the city moves forward, because it was mentioned earlier, Laconia has implemented this. They had Bike Week and didn't have any problems with this. So I think this goes to show that this can really be done in a safe, effective way that really benefits our local businesses, especially when they are going to be hit with some high property tax increases. So please keep this process moving forward. Thank you again. That's all.
Any questions for Mr. Greenslade?
Yes. How much trash did this generate in Laconia? Because I know that trash cans are are very contentious right now in Concord, because they're not in parks, and they're in like the cemetery, they're at the golf course. A lot of people want to see trash cans, and this has been, when I called and spoke to other communities that implemented that was their complaint, is that it generates a lot of trash.
Implemented social districts?
Yes.
I believe Laconia is the only one that's done that.
No, because of other states that have done it.
I can't speak to that trash issue, but just off the top of my head, I think that, and I think one other thing I would like to say, I forgot to mention, was that I think any moving forward with this process should really make sure to include local businesses, give them a seat at the table, because, I think they're the ones that know best what's going to work for them, and I think that they should really be consulted in how this moves forward. But I would also say, I think that a lot of these local businesses would be more than happy to sponsor trash cans if that means that they can serve drinks to people. So I think that the best way to address that would be engaging with the local business community, because I'm sure that they would be willing to pay for purple bags to get the ability to sell off premise.
Councilor Kretovic.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I like having somebody here that was on the ground level in writing the legislation. It was my understanding last fall, when this was first being brought up, part of the reason that we wanted to institute social districts was in support of our local restaurants, specifically because they're losing somewhere in the tune of $60 billion a year in revenue to beer and alcohol sales because of the surrounding states that sell marijuana. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
An honest man.
I've read the bill. I had a hand in drafting it. I'm a fan of it, but I can't really speak. And I know I've read the reports about Laconia, how it's gone there, how it's gone pretty well. What I would say is, and I would also go, yes, alcohol sales are down. I think that's for a number of reasons. I think it's also because apparently the Zoomers don't drink, is what they say. So
that's also true.
I think this is an opportunity to reimagine the community and the public's relationship with alcohol.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming up to testify. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on item 26A? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 26B.
It is a public hearing regarding the status of $130,000 in community development block grant funds, the majority of which were subgranted to the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness for costs incurred in operating the emergency winter shelter at 240 North Main Street and the Resource Center at 238 North Main for the period December 1st, 2025 to April 30th, 2026.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager.
I am not going to bring titles up. I'm just going to invite Tim Thompson up to read what he needs to do.
Welcome, Mr. Thompson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. As you are no doubt aware, those of you who have been on the council for a while, when we do a status update hearing for a CDBG grant, there's specific requirements that we need to follow in order to meet the federal guidelines, so please bear with me as I read my script. First and foremost, there are handouts in the back of the room at the table that summarize the status update for this particular CDBG project. Community Development Block Grant funds are available to municipalities through the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority. Up to $500,000 annually is available for economic development projects, up to $750,000 for public facilities projects, up to $750,000 for housing projects, and up to $500,000 for emergency activities. Up to $25,000 is available for a planning study grant. Up to $1.038 million was available through a COVID-19 CDBG CV funding opportunity for public service providers serving unhoused individuals or lower moderate income households or persons impacted by COVID-19. All projects under that program had to benefit a majority low and moderate income person. This public hearing is intended to update the public on and take comment on a CDBG CV grant of $130,000, the majority of which was sub-granted to the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness for costs incurred for operating their emergency winter shelter at 240 North Main Street and their resource center at 238 North Main Street for the period of December 1, 2025 to April 30, 2026. Those funds that were provided, reimbursement for the additional services that the coalition provided to people who are experiencing homelessness in Concord related to COVID-19, 674 persons were benefited by this particular project. That ends the script portion. Just to clarify a couple of other items for this. Of that $130,000 grant, $114,000 of that was sub-granted to the coalition that they then used to reimburse their operating costs for the shelter and their resource center during that time. The remaining $16,000 of that $130,000 grant were paid to the CDBG consultant that the city contracts with for contract administration and grant writing. Any questions? I'm happy to take them at this point. And I also will note that Karen Jansen from the coalition is here if you have any questions for her.
Mr. Thompson, I think that there was some confusion on social media, assuming that the $16,000 was an additional grant. You've clarified that $16,000 was for administrative costs?
Correct.
Connected with applying for and administrating the grant.
Correct.
And that all these funds have been used.
All the funds have currently been expended, correct.
Which is your function tonight.
Exactly.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councilor Warren.
Also, I think some confusion from probably similar social media was the dates that we gave the organization to cover were up until April 30th. People have seen that the winter shelters only open, I think, through the end of March. We were just giving them dates all-inclusive of when it could be open.
That time period was established by the CDFA in terms of their grant opportunity for municipalities. So that covered any granting agency that received CDBG CV funds under this round was for that period of December through April.
Right.
Follow up?
Just so we weren't requiring you have to have the shelter open.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I think this is also was not just for the shelter, but also for the resource center, which is open year-round.
That's correct.
Correct. Right. Councilor Kretovic.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is it standard language in these grants that there would be an administrative fee paid out to someone, even if it was like our city administrative staff that was overseeing this? We would have received basically the $16,000 to help pay a staff person in-house, that it's not just for somebody that we hire to do these grants. Is that standard for like most grants?
It is standard for communities that are not entitlement communities. Concord is not an entitlement community. We compete with the entire state for CDBG funds. There are several entitlement communities in New Hampshire: Manchester, Nashua, Rochester, off the top of my head, are all entitlement communities that receive direct funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and they administer those funds directly from the federal government, whereas the rest of New Hampshire, including Concord, competes for these programs that are administered through the Community Development Finance Authority.
A follow-up, one clarifying, I understood that, but this is common for all grants, federal grants, cetera, that there is an administrative fee that's typically
There
built
is an
into
allowance.
the grant.
There is an allowance under federal law for administrative costs.
Thank you.
correct.
I just wanted to assure this wasn't something abnormal.
No.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Thompson? All right. Oh, Council Foot.
Thank you, Your Honor. Following, wow. Help me out. Last year, maybe it was this year, one of the committees I'm on, there were two groups that came in looking for block grant money. Will this distribution negatively affect either one of those potential block grants?
No, I believe you're recalling, we had Families in Transition was one of the two, and there was, I believe it was Riverbend looking for fund for the Twitchell House. They were both competing for housing funds, which is a separate pot of federal money under the CDBG program. Under that program, the Community Development Advisory Committee and the City Council opted to apply on behalf of Families in Transition. That grant has been awarded. They were awarded a $500,000 Community Development Block Grant Housing grant to help assist with their project to convert commercial space within their buildings in Bicentennial Square to 5 additional low-income housing units. Out of that $500,000, there's 25 or so thousand dollars of that are also being used for administration. So it's $475,000 will be sub-granted to Families in Transition, and $25,000 is for grant administration for that particular project. But they are separate pots of money. The CDBG CV program was a very quick turnaround process with the Community Development Finance Authority because the funds that were unexpended initially for that COVID-19 program were about to be clawed back by the federal government. So this was an additional opportunity for communities to get these funds associated with the COVID-19 pandemic, which is where we were successful with the coalition.
I know I'm digressing. What about Riverbend?
Riverbend was not selected. We can only make one selection for the housing or economic development or public facilities programs, because those have specific yearly deadlines associated with them. So the Community Development Advisory Committee, out of the two, chose that the more competitive application would be Families in Transition, which again was ultimately funded.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Appreciate it. I'll now open the public hearing on item 26B. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify? Welcome.
Good evening.
Karen Jason, I'm the Executive Director of the Concord Coalition to End Homelessness. So these funds in particular, this was a rare opportunity for us, and we were very grateful for the city supporting us. It enabled us with the shelter to open earlier and stay just a half hour, and also stay open later in the morning a half hour. That doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you're coordinating with the Friendly Kitchen of where people can go and move during the very extreme cold, that makes a lot of difference. In addition, we had, during the week, expanded our operating hours to Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. This, and with the extreme cold we had this winter, this funding enabled us also to stay open 10 Monday afternoons and also an additional 10 Friday afternoons. The city was very generous in granting us funding for warming center hours. Those were only in the afternoon for Saturdays and Sundays during our winter shelter season. But we had a number of weekends where we were open earlier on both Saturday and Sunday. We had just devastatingly cold winter. So all in all, this helps support not just our general operations, but about 73 extra hours worth of time that we were open. And in that time, we're able to make deeper connections with people. We're able to provide better case management or ongoing case management support. And over the course of the year, we, in addition to support with other community agencies, we're able to get 43 people housed this past year. So, thank you.
No questions. Councilor Schlosser.
I'd just like to thank you for bringing up that warming center, because I think Concord Coalition was a key partner in that, and the Friendly Kitchen, the two agencies. I think you deserve a lot of credit, and also the Friendly Kitchen, for organizing to extend your hours and ensure that there was 24/7 coverage for places for people to go, both the winter shelter at night and then the resource center during the day. So thank you for that work, and I think the community should be really grateful for that work of protecting some of our vulnerable citizens. So thank you very much.
Councilor Schultz.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On that note, I just wanted to make sure you were aware that there is going to be a discussion around extreme heat times. I realize the shelter isn't open, but the resource center probably is. And so if that's something that you think that your organization could play a role in, that will be coming up in September?
Next week.
Next week. Sorry. So I just wanted to make sure, if no one had made you aware of that, that you knew that this was a discussion that just recently started.
I know it's under discussion, we just haven't gone through it, vetted it and what it would do for our populations. But we do know that the heat is really, it's tough. It's really tough on people out there.
Councilor Credeville.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo Councilor Schlosser's words about how much support and gratitude that the City of Concord should have to your organization. You know, when Mr. Thompson told us about the 614 people that benefited from the shelter this winter, I think that the other part that goes along with it was your comment about the more people that you were able to do outreach to this winter. Unfortunately, the heat and the cold drives people indoors to places when they are in need, but a lot of the times if the weather were mild, we may not even see them. They'll go under the radar. So I appreciate all you do, as you know.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson.
I say it wrong.
I neglected to mention during my presentation that you do have an action item associated with this public hearing. There is no action necessary for the council. Just holding the public hearing is all that is required under the law.
Thank you. So we can skip this when we get to public hearing action.
Correct.
I'll rely on the city clerk to keep me on track with that. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on this item? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 26C.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $67,376 in the general fund as a transfer out to trust and accepting the sum of $67,376 from the Boys and Girls Club of Central and Northern New Hampshire for this purpose.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As part of the off-site improvements identified during the planning board review process for the Pennacook Community Center, the Boys and Girls Club was required to construct sidewalks on Dolphin Street. Although the city partnered with the Boys and Girls Club on the community center project, they were the ones who were responsible for all construction costs. Dolphin Street was part of the fiscal year 23 neighborhood street paving program, that's CIP 78. In order to efficiently construct the sidewalk in coordination with the paving project, they agreed to cover the full cost if the city included the sidewalk under the same CIP for the Dolphin Street paving. This work was completed and the funds have all been received by the city. Because the sidewalk project was complete and has been closed, the city would like to transfer these funds to the Highway Reserve for future neighborhood street paving programs. So we have the money, now it's just to move the money to the CIP 78 or to the reserve account, and then that can be used in CIP 78 in future years.
Thank you. Any questions for the Acting City Manager? All right, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this? I'm sorry. Oh, Councilor Brown, did you have a question?
I can wait. That's fine until at the action phase.
Yeah,
That's fine.
thank you. I close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 26D.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $11,500 in the Parks and Recreation Miscellaneous Grants and Donations Project for the free summer concert series and accepting the sum of $11,500 as a donation from the Walker Lecture Series for this purpose.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Mr. Mayor, in 2022, the city approached Walker Lecture Series to see if they would fund an expansion of the concert series to include Sunday morning concerts at the Merrimack Lodge at White Park. They agreed to fund the expanded series, and in the summer of '22, there were 10 concerts that were held at the lodge from mid-June to mid-September. Since 2022, the Walker Lecture Series has continued to fund the Thursday night and Sunday morning free community concerts. Last year, the donation was also $11,500 to include new concerts at Canal Riverfront Park in Pennacook. And this donation will be used to support the 2026 Summer Concert Series. So this is just in order for us to be able to move forward with that series.
Thank you. Any questions for the acting city manager? Councilor Brown.
Yes, I'm just wondering where the fund is, where this donation, how can we see how much money is in that, and is it exclusive to this type of event?
Yeah, this will go into the Grants and Donations Fund, and we will be having a full report that will come to the City Council when you receive the first quarter report for all the grants and donations, so you'll see it there.
Follow up?
I'm sorry, can we see that information on the ACFR or in the budget in any of our other financial documents?
It's included in the ACFR as a consolidated number. It is not included in the regular operating budget on an annual basis. That's why you get it here as a supplemental appropriation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the acting city manager? All right, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 26E.
It is a resolution modifying the elderly exemption for the City of Concord pursuant to the provisions of RSA 7227A.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to bring up John Rice in order to talk about this resolution.
Welcome, Mr. Rice.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. So this is a recommendation that was made to the Tax Exemptions Policy Committee with the ongoing revaluation and the preliminary numbers for residential housing. We want to look at our population of people who are currently qualified for the elderly exemption. And make sure, again, the goal of the committee was to maintain the same number of people who qualified for the exemption to continue to receive that exemption. I think we had talked about this before here at council. Based on prior year and prior years, I should say, leading up to this, we tried to project what was needed to increase the value at which the value which we're going to end up at, I guess, reval-wise, then what the need would be for that exemption amount. We did that preliminary. We had a meeting with Tax Exemption Policy Committee. That is what is put forward here. However, since then, we had our preliminary values, went out to residential taxpayers. We took those results and applied them to the need, and they matched. So we did a pretty good job estimating. Prior to this year, 2025, we had 98 zero tax bills, essentially. So the exemption amount resulted in 98 taxpayers receiving a zero tax bill. We're trying to maintain that number and qualify as many people as possible. Based on our projections currently, 94 of the 98 would continue to have a zero tax bill. However, 10 additional people are added to that list. So we have a total of 104 based on our current projections. And 25 of the people who qualified have a lower assessed value. So we're tracking all the numbers, trying to project. When I did meet with the Tax Exemption Policy Committee, we did ask for the ability for me as the Director of Assessing to come forward. Once we know the residential values are final, we find these numbers drastically change, there is still an opportunity for us prior to the tax bills going out to come back and make adjustments as needed. And I'm sure you've seen it, but the recommendation, current amounts are, the exemption amount for 65 to 74 years old is $80,000. Ages 75 to 79 are $131,000. Ages 80 plus, $223,000. And our recommendation in the resolution is ages 65 to 74 increasing to $155,000, ages 75 to 79 to $250,000, and ages 80 plus to $375,000.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. I have a quick question. Could you explain how an exemption works so that people understand kind of what impact that has on how much someone would pay in property taxes?
So exemptions do not act like tax credits. We have tax credits and exemptions. Exemptions are a decrease in value before the tax rate is calculated. So the amount is the amount of assessed value that will be removed from your assessment prior to your tax calculation.
Thank you. So, for example, if I was 75 years or older, or up to 80, I guess, I could have $250,000 deducted from the assessed value of my house. So if my house was, let's say, was valued at $500,000, I'd only pay taxes on $250,000 on that, correct?
If they qualify, yes.
If I qualify, yeah. Exactly. Any questions? Councilor Schlosser.
And the qualifications, there's income, these are for low-income individuals, there's definitely income.
It's income and asset-based, yep.
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Rice? Councilor Schultz.
I see the wheels.
Sometimes you can see the wheels turning.
I can. I don't know that you can answer this, but since it's a proactive process, isn't it possible that there are people who could qualify that just aren't applying?
Yes, and we've had quite a few, with the ongoing residential hearings that we had quite a few people come in, and we recommended for many of them, we were able to have discussions to determine whether they met or exceeded the income and asset limitations if they thought they were close. We want to encourage taxpayers to apply. We're not here to deny anyone. It's a system where we have to look at your income, we have to look at your assets. If we can qualify you, you will qualify.
I feel like that needs to be a headline emblazoned in the sky. You might qualify. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Councilor Brown.
Yes, Mr. Rice, you had mentioned that there may be something else other things that you could do. What kinds of things could you do?
I'm not.
Didn't you just say, if somebody doesn't quite qualify, there's still things that we can do? I wasn't sure if there was other options.
I think what he was saying was that if the results of the assessments come back and they're significantly different than what was estimated, that there would still be time for him to come back to the council to ask for changes to these values.
Right.
So it's
Another
really an
bite at
issue
that.
of having a significant change from what was anticipated, which doesn't sound like that's
No,
what's
and
happening.
no, and based on again, we had our hearings the last 3.5, 4 weeks. Actually, I think phone hearings are just wrapping up. I don't anticipate a large change to the preliminary values. There will be some changes. There will be final notices for those people whose values have changed, but I don't anticipate it will be large enough to affect the recommendation.
Thank you. Councilor Brown.
Yes, and this is off of what you just said, Mr. LeBrun. So this was after they get their tax bill that we could still do. Could you rephrase that? At what point?
This is really the part of the valuation process when you're looking at where the valuations fall and compared to the folks who had qualified and were getting the exemptions as we were looking at them. If there was a significant change to all of that, we would still have the opportunity before the tax bills were out in order to come back and have the city council make adjustments here. That doesn't look like that's going to be the case, but it still could there still could be some opportunity.
Correct, and we review this every year, so even if it weren't prior to the tax bill, we still have an opportunity next year to make.
Just clarification, so we could still make it, the tax bills are going out in December, is that correct?
November, December.
November, December, okay, so we have that buffer.
It's really, I mean, that's when the tax bills go out. But if you think about when the tax rate gets set, if you think about when the MS1 report is filed with the Department of Revenue, there's a lot of things that have to happen before that tax rate goes out. These values have to be established and completed by that time. We'll know very shortly if there is going to be anything based on the preliminary discussions that you're having and the preliminary review. You just said that there really wasn't a lot of additional changes that you're seeing. It still could happen. It doesn't look like it's going to, but it would have to be done long before the time the tax bill goes out, because there are plenty of things that have to happen before that tax bill is actually calculated.
And I only brought it up because we had the discussion to give me the power to come and make a recommendation to City Council so that we wouldn't have to hold another meeting and
It's a
delay it
safety, it's a safety measure, yeah. Yeah, the committee did, in fact, give you that authority to come back, that power to come back. Any other questions for Mr. Rice?
One last.
Sure.
When will the commercial property assessments be completed?
That's a great question. Letters went out today, so they're in the mail, not being received. It may take 3-4 days to start being received.
Mr. Rice, would you believe that my new assessment is pretty much spot on to what the many real estate agents who really want to sell my house have been telling me my house is valued?
I mean, I can believe it, but.
Well, you did a good job on my house anyway.
Thank you.
All right. And it was 58% increase for a single-family home, so that's right in the range of that 60% that you estimated, so I thought you did really well.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't go too far.
Is there, I'm going to open the public hearing.
You can go.
You can leave for now.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't go too far.
You're getting cross signals, I'm sorry. But yeah, don't go too far. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to testify on this item, the elderly tax exemption? All right, hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Ms. City Clerk, item 26F, please.
It is a report from the Director of Assessing recommending the city manager be authorized to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement between the City of Concord and Briar Hydro Associates for Rolfe Canal Falls, Pennacook Upper Falls, and Pennacook Lower Falls.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager, do I suspect we're going to hear from Mr. Rice again?
I believe we're going to hear from Mr. Rice again, so John, if you could come back up.
Welcome back, Mr. Rice.
Been a while.
Yeah. You've gotten grayer.
What's that?
You've gotten grayer.
Happens. Thank you for that. So this is an agreement you've seen before with Briar Hydro. We've been working with, I guess, in the assessing department to come up with a value for their assets. It can be a challenging process. We have negotiated with Briar Hydro in the past for payment in lieu agreements. And what we went to Briar Hydro this year with ongoing revaluation. We asked them if they would do a bridge year with the city in the interest of finalizing the value of their property. That process is ongoing. I have a preliminary value, but we did not have it when we needed to be negotiating. Their prior contract was up March 31st of 26. So this is a bridge year contract. It's the same contract you've seen the prior year for $255,000. It's a flat fee agreement based on the value that I assigned to it for 2025, the tax rate, and then a discount that we looked at for 2025. Again, we're looking at this as a bridge year. We're going to develop a value on this property, same as every other property for the revaluation, and apply the tax rate and have to renegotiate. We're looking to do 5-year agreements in the future. This is just the bridge year for that.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Rice on this? Council Foot.
Thank you, Your Honor. Does Bosquen also have a pilot agreement?
Bosquen has a pilot agreement. Yep, and actually, the value that I'm developing for the reval is being done. I met with Chad Roberge. He's with Avatar Associates, and he does the value for Briar. We work together on it because we're divvying up the value correctly, so that that collectively the two communities are not overvaluing it.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Rice? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Rice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on item 26F? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, item 26G.
It is a discretionary preservation easement renewal request per RSA 79D for property located at 102 Little Pond Road, owned by Sylvia Misco Trust.
Mr. Acting City Manager.
And I will ask John Rice to come back one more time this evening.
Welcome back, Mr. Rice.
Thank you. All right, so this is a barn preservation easement for 102 Little Pond Road. The Miscos own the property, very well known, at least in my office in town. You have seen this before. They've had two prior easements. They are for 10 years, so they've had it for 20 years. We did inspect the barn. We always do an inspection of the property, and we score them, and we make a recommendation. This is, if you've ever seen the property or the barn, you're very fortunate. It is a very well-kept barn, in excellent condition. They are very expensive to maintain, and that's really the idea of the easement, is for us to be sure that what they say they are doing to the property. They are doing quite a bit of work, and it's getting more and more expensive to preserve the barn, and therefore our recommendation, as you'll see, is outstanding, as it's been in the past. And this is for another 10 years.
Thank you, Mr. Rice. Any questions for Mr. Rice? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll open the public hearing on item 26G. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Madam City Clerk, this brings us to the public hearing action phase, item 27.
It is an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, Title I General Code, Chapter 14, Morals and Conduct.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Council Brown.
Yes, I believe that I am making a motion that we table this until we receive additional information. I'm concerned that we've prioritized social districts over warming stations, cooling centers, over things that do necessitate the safety of our residents.
You're making a motion, Councilor?
I am making a motion, yes.
Okay, is there a
Yes.
second? Okay, the motion fails for lack of a second.
Your Honor, may I continue discussing?
No, ma'am. You made your motion.
Okay, I made a motion, but I would like to speak.
There was no second.
Okay, are
There's
we in
no-
the discussion phase?
There is no motion
Okay.
on the table to speak
My
to.
motion is on the table, Your Honor.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Kretovich's motion
Yes,
is
well,
on
I
the
would
table.
like to speak to that.
Speak to that motion? Very well.
I would like to point out that a member of the Safety Board is also a lobbyist for an alcoholic organization. And I would like to know if this lobbyist disclosed that during any of the 5 meetings that the Safety Board had about social districts, because I think that is a concern. There were 2 members of the Safety Board that opposed moving forward, that asked that this be slowed down. One of them was a former member of the DEI-JB committee. I think that the Safety Board did not discuss the open carry and concealed carry effect that we have in New Hampshire, and how the impact of alcohol in our downtown, where people are allowed to carry a weapon without a permit, concealed. And also, as we heard from the person who testified, that there are fewer people who are drinking. In fact, the New Hampshire Liquor Commission is losing alcohol sales. The sales that are growing year over year are non-alcoholic. So I think we will be alienating a large group of people in Concord, people who do not want to be around a bunch of drunk people walking around. We have not explored the impact of trash on this. I think that this does not need to be rushed forward over other issues, particularly heating centers, warming centers, and cooling stations. I feel that the prioritization of a social district over other things is concerning.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion? Councilor Grady Sexton.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll just say that all of those issues were discussed at length in multiple subcommittees as well as with the full Public Safety Advisory Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion? Councilor Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the citizen who testified because I've heard some of the same arguments from our state representatives who also were at the hearings for that on the Commerce Committee. I'm not talking about myself. That felt that this issue was very well discussed, debated, with all of those issues in mind. And I think that the folks who looked at this on our committees, I trust this recommendation to move forward. So I appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. All right, Councilor Caleb.
Yes, in thinking about the permits and fees and all of that that will be associated with these social districts, potentially implementing the social districts could be some sort of revenue generator. So I just wanted to throw that out as a reminder.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Kurtz.
Yeah, thank you. I will be supporting this motion. I don't have any sense that this has been rushed. In fact, I know there were some organizations in the community who were hopeful to make use of social districting earlier this summer, and the committee was careful in working with legal to make sure that the city has a well-developed process and all of the sort of safeties in place, and the discretion of the council remains intact for assessing those. So this does not feel like a rush to me at all, and I will be supporting the motion.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Horn.
I would echo what Councillor Kurtz had to say. I believe Mr. Conforti also noted we still probably have a very long process ahead of us with multiple more committees, multiple times probably coming to the council, and a reminder that our constituents did actually vote for us to do this in the long run. So.
Any other? Councilor Keach.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'll just add, not only is this not rushed, this has been delayed beyond belief, and time needs to come. And obstructionist talk like Councilor Brown just blows my mind. So I'll be in favor of this.
Of course you will.
Councilor Krajewicz.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be supporting this mostly because I think that I want to support our local businesses, especially those that serve alcohol. They have restaurant servers who are licensed to do so, and they are still responsible for the pouring services. That you can shake your head, Councilor, that's okay, but yes. I can support this motion on behalf of our residents that asked for this. Thank you.
Councilor Todd.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this also. I just want to comment that the ordinance, I think, is, although it's been acknowledged that it's a rather simple ordinance, but it's well written, and I think that I have every faith and confidence that the way it's set up with these applications being submitted first to the Public Safety Board is an excellent process, and I have every confidence that the Public Safety Board Chair and members will, efficiently review each application and then provide the council with the appropriate information in order for us to make a decision. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilor Grady Sexton.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one last statement. The members of the Public Safety Advisory Board work very hard. This is a time-intensive advisory board to serve on, and I am just grateful for all of them. I'm very sorry that somebody may have been disparaged this evening.
Thank you. Let me just say that I too will be voting in favor of this. I want to thank Councilor Grady Sexton, the chairman of the Public Safety Advisory Board, for the work that she and her committee did on this. It was indeed a long and detailed process. I have to say that the people who have reached out to me asking when we will be able to have social districts are largely from our nonprofit community. They're all very eager to look at the opportunities this might serve for them. And as has already been said, some have been disappointed that we haven't acted with more alacrity so that they could start using social districts sooner. But I think that there has been concern. Councilor Grady Sexton and I certainly have had offline conversations about wanting to be sensitive to neighborhoods and to public safety and to ensuring that when we do this, we do it the right way and don't feel compelled to be rushed by the fact that Laconia has established one before us. As I told the paper, this is not a race. This is making public policy that's sound. So I will be voting in favor of it. Are we ready for the vote? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
The ayes have it. Madam City Clerk, item number 28.
There is no action needed on that.
That is, thank you. See, I told you. Yes. There's no action required. So we'll move right to item 29.
That is a resolution appropriating the sum of $67,376 in the general fund as a transfer out to trust and accepting the same from the Boys and Girls Club of Central and Northern New Hampshire.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there discussion? Councilor Brown.
Yes, I had wanted to ask which trust this was going to.
I believe it was stated that it is going into the Highway Trust.
It's a highway
Reserve fund.
Highway Reserve, thank you.
Thank you.
Are we ready for the vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Ayes have it. The motion passes by the necessary 2/3 majority. Madam City Clerk, item number 30.
It is a resolution appropriating the sum of $11,500 in the Parks and Recreation Miscellaneous Grants and Donations Project for the free summer concert series and accepting the sum of $11,500 as a donation from the Walker Lecture Series for this purpose.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Horn.
I just want to show my appreciation for expanding to the Canal Street Riverfront Park. I've spent a lot of time at the live music down there. It's fun to go have a picnic with my daughter, go over, grab an ice cream, and there's been some really great music, so just really thankful for that.
Pleased to see it too. All right, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The motion passes by the necessary 2/3 majority. Madam City Clerk, item 31.
It is a resolution modifying the elderly exemption for the City of Concord pursuant to the provisions of RSA 7227A.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Kurtz.
Thank you. I'd just like to state some appreciation for the assessing department, both for really taking a close look at this, and also I appreciate that they're keeping the door open to make adjustments if necessary, but also that it seems they have been very accurate in the estimates that they've offered this community. And I know we did receive some testimony from individuals in the community who really rely on this, and they appreciated, they expressed great appreciation for the elderly exemption and the way that it has allowed them to remain in the community in previous years. So I just wanted to extend gratitude to staff for their hard work on this.
Okay, thank you. Any other? Councilor Kurtz.
Schultz.
Schultz.
Oh, I don't know
You're
what
doing
this
well
means,
there.
Mr.
I'm
Mayor.
sorry, Councilor
You have been
Schultz.
doing so well for
I
many
know,
months.
I know,
I think
Councilor.
you owe me a steak dinner.
I do.
I don't know what other jokes to make, but I'll leave it at that.
I'll even throw in a cocktail if it's your preference.
Only in the social district. I just wanted to also, I attended one of the meetings, but as a citizen. And I realized as I'm sitting there that the roughly 100 people that apply actively for this exemption, that get 100% exemption, I'm related to them. I gain no benefit from this whatsoever. I am just shocked that it's such a low number. And I do believe it's at least double that would qualify, possibly triple that. And so if we as counselors and elected officials can help get the word out that folks still have time to, I believe, do that exemption process, that we should encourage folks to do so, because why leave it to just the 100 or so people when it could be more than that? Thank you.
Councilor Horn.
I just would point out that there's also the Veterans the disabled, the blind, solar, there are many exceptions. So if you go on the assessing website, all your applications are right there.
Are we ready for the vote? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Ayes have it. Madam City Clerk, item 31. I'm sorry, item 32.
It is a report from the Director of Assessing recommending the city manager be authorized to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement between the City of Concord and Briar Hydro Associates.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Councilor Todd.
Just a quick acknowledgement of another example of the great value Pennacook brings to the city.
I was surprised you didn't say anything about the summer concerts.
Oh, that's, I'm saving that for my other comment.
Oh, okay, all right, all right. Any other discussion? All right, ready for the vote? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Ayes have it, the motion passes. Madam City Clerk, item 33.
It is a discretionary preservation easement renewal request for property located at 102 Little Pond Road, owned by the Sylvia Misco Trust.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'll just say briefly that while I was on the board of the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance, barn preservation was one of the priorities. We're losing many more barns, historic barns in New England and in New Hampshire than we should. And this program, this state program, is one of the tools we have to preserve them. So I'm glad to see that we are supporting this effort as a city. All right. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it, the motion passes. This brings us to the report section of our meeting. I believe, Mr. Acting City Manager, we have item 34, a report on White Park Pond restoration.
We do, and I would like to ask Mr. Gill to come up and present this report.
Welcome.
Mayor and members of the council. Garrison Beck is also here. He is our wetlands specialist from VHB who has helped us through the application process for the pond. So if there's any technical questions, he is better suited than I am. Back in June is also, we wrote a report that you accepted that we would go back to the state to see if they would allow us to hydro rake the pond versus a fill dredge. The fill dredge was significantly more dollars. I'm happy to report that the state has come back and said that it is an allowable and a good use of to get the pond back to where it needs to be. So in the CIP, there was $200,000 in this year's budget that you approved, pending coming back for a discussion and final approval with you. So it's in CIP 51.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gill. Any questions for Mr. Gill? Councilor Brown.
Yes, we can dredge this, but there's no guarantee that it will eradicate the lotus seed because it has a lifespan of dormancy period, right, of 13 years. It can just kind of sit there. So this is something that we could be doing over and over again. Is that right?
Even with the full dredge, there's no guarantee that you would get rid of all the seeds. But that's what Garrison's here. So I mean, even if we spent $700 to $1 million, there's no guarantees that we're going to get that. So part of it is, and he's here to, he's educated us. Part of it is, if you guys approve it, is continuation on our staff to make sure when we see a plant early on that we have to basically go in there in our waders and remove it. There will be some process on our staff to make sure if we see anything to get it.
Follow up?
Yes, I thought that in previous council meetings, we had talked about hydro raking was less than $20,000. It was like $15,000.
That's harvesting. The past, what we've been doing for the past 5 years to control the lotus plant is mechanically harvest. That's when the machine comes in and just kind of cuts the top 6 to 8 inches off. Hydro raking is, and Harrison can probably do a better job explaining it to me, but it's a backhoe on a barge that goes down and gets all the sediments up and gets all the root zones and everything. It's a little bit more aggressive.
Follow up?
Now this is this is increasing the depth from 3 feet to 10 feet, or this is not?
That keeps the same depth.
Okay.
Yeah, keeps the same depth. The depth averages, I think, is between 4 and 6 feet right now. Back in the 80s, it was over 10 feet, and that half of the dredge did lower it, brought in a lot of fill to about 5 feet.
Any other questions? Council Foot.
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you explain why you didn't pursue, or maybe you did, a chemical alternative to kill this plant off versus what you're doing?
I'm going to date myself now. I think it was probably 10 or 12 years ago. We did a chemical spray, and it was not well received at all by the community. So we went this way. And I think it was also a better way to remove the seed bank, was to remove the material.
I'm also happy to speak to that. One of the concerns with the chemical treatment is all that plant material will die in place, and that could prompt algae blooms if you have all that decomposing material in the pond, remaining in the pond. So by removing the mass of the plant material from the pond, it's less chemically intensive, and removing that plant material wouldn't spur potential algae blooms or other unintended consequences.
Okay. Council Foot.
Great response, thank you.
Councilor Brown and Mr. Gill, would you please pull your microphone a little closer to you? I can hear you, but I'm not sure people at home can. Thank you. Councilor Brown.
I have residents asking about the smell, and it looks like on page 5 you're talking about dredging, and then it needs to sit on site to dewater before being transported off site. So is there going to be an excessive smell with this?
If approved, we're doing it hopefully in late September when it's cooler, but you do have a large biomass that will need to dewater. There will be some smell.
Follow up?
Did we do this maybe 10 years ago? Because I remember a mound out where the new playground is, an enormous mound, because my kids were playing on it, and it was about 10 years ago. And it was dredged, and it had the lotus seeds. Yeah, it was gross, and it was huge.
I think that was the first time. I don't think the lotus plant was there. I think we tried to dredge it for ice skating. Okay. But it was up where the playground and the splash pad was. It was a large material.
Yes. And was that was that hydro raking?
No, that was with a backhoe trying to remove some of the growth.
Oh.
Okay.
Good memory.
Any other questions for Mr. Gill or, Mr. Beck?
I have a question for Mr. LeBrun.
I'm sorry?
I have a question for Mr. LeBrun.
All right.
I believe that there's 500,000 of funds for CIP 51 that was approved but not bonded. Is that correct?
Is this relevant, Counselor? Is this relevant to?
Well, I'm just
White
concerned
Park?
that it's, this is now $700,000 for White Park that is going to be dedicated.
So you don't want to spend money in your neighborhood park?
It's a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah.
Are we ready for the vote?
There's no vote.
I don't have a motion.
It's just a report.
No.
there has to
I'm
be a
sorry.
motion.
I'm seeking a motion to authorize
So
staff
moved.
to hydro rake the pond in White Park.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All right. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
Ayes have it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next report is item 35. This is a report from the UNH Sustainability Fellow on the citywide tree canopy assessment.
Beth Fenstermarker will join us and make the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Councilors. While Danielle sets up, I'll just give an introduction. So this is our 5th year with a fellow from the UNH Sustainability Institute. Previous years, they've done greenhouse gas emission projects, worked on community power. One of the recommendations that came out of the last greenhouse gas project was to get a better understanding of what the citywide canopy was and what our
natural resources were. So our project this year was a mapping project, an assessment of the citywide tree canopy assessment, the citywide tree canopy, and looking at different ways to quantify that and what the benefits are to the city. So I'll pass it over. This is Danielle Melius. She just graduated from UNH, and she's on her way to Toronto in a couple of weeks, where she'll be pursuing her master's degree at the University of Toronto. She's done an amazing job, and I'm really proud of her, so I'm sad she's leaving us.
Thank you, Beth. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I've met some of you throughout the summer, but it's really great to be here. I know it's at the end of the night, so I'll make it a little brief. But we, as Beth mentioned, our goal was to map the canopy, which we were able to do, which we found that around 60% of Concord is covered by tree canopy, which, as someone from Connecticut, I would not think that Hartford and New Haven could compare to that. We also found that there unsurprisingly has been a decrease in the amount of tree canopy cover since 1985. But we still have about 30,000 acres of tree canopy throughout the city of Concord, with about 35% of that canopy being on public land and the rest of it being on private land, which is important to mention, as we could plant a tree everywhere we can as part of the city of Concord, but eventually we'd run out of space and it would be up to the private property owners to put their hand in the game and to plant their own trees. But the goal of this project was to also provide resources for people who want to plant more trees, whether it be they don't know what trees to plant, they don't know where they could plant them. Educating people on the advantages of planting native species over non-native or invasive ones. We also looked at different risks and benefits that comes with tree canopies, whether that be with decreasing the amount of flood risk or lowering the amount of urban heat temperatures. Planting in areas that are when it comes to the entire landscape permeability, planting in areas that are not as permeable to the wildlife. Because those are the areas that you're more likely to see those wildlife vehicle collisions, as animals have to leave their forests to move to different areas through the wildlife corridors that we all know we have in the city of Concord. So by taking these different benefits, we were able to look at it as an analysis by ward, and with that we were able to prioritize different benefits. We can look at them all in general, or we could say we want to plant for the most cooling benefits. We want to plant for the most air quality benefits or noise pollution. And we also found that there was an increase in the surface temperature. So possibly that could be a great way to start, of trying to decrease the amount of heat that the pavement or the city urban areas are releasing. So, as many of you know, anyone could use this project, whether that be someone who just wants to see what of Concord is canopy, which areas have seen canopy loss, and maybe what are those causes. It could be for the residents who want cooler temperatures. It gets hotter and hotter every year, and our air conditioning bills go up and up and up, and I know I'd want to save some money on that. The wildlife, of course, can benefit by increasing the landscape permeability, along with other cities can use this as a framework to map their own tree canopies. Because as Beth said, and a lot of I worked in a group of greenhouse gas emissions fellows, and many of them were seeing the exact same issue that we had seen previously, with the fact that they were lacking the information on the tree canopy, which, as many of you probably assume, provides a lot of benefits when it comes to greenhouse gas emissions. We also saw, being able to use a platform called iTree Canopy, we were able to figure out that there is $18.4 million worth of total annual benefits just in Concord's tree canopy, which is amazing. And while I only had a summer to do this, thankfully this project can be used in the future, whether it be figuring out what types of trees or what size trees can you plant within a certain area, because you could figure out what areas are plantable, and then you have to figure out, well, they have to be a certain distance from the road or fire hydrants or power poles. And by taking certain radius of buffers, you can see which size of each you can put within an area, whether that be on the sides of streets or in someone's lawn if that's what they're interested in. And we can also start with this recommendations, because obviously I spent my summer doing this virtually, and with this project we can take people who are in the field, forestry members, who could do this on-the-ground research and make this classification and this data even more robust and accurate, because again, you can only do so much from imagery. That, again, our most recent one was from 2023. So with this, it can be a really great starting point for possible future analysis of the urban tree canopy and for the future priority planting of where we should plant more trees for the most benefit. So the main part of my project was this dashboard, which anyone with a screen would be able to access. They'd be able to zoom in, zoom out. The left side being the citywide information, and the right side being ward. If we zoom in, you have to let it load a little bit. But once it's making me look bad.
Wow.
This is really cool.
Yes. But once you zoom in, you're able to see a more detailed. It's of course not perfect because no ortho imagery or maps are perfect, especially when you only have virtual or online data. But we can also look at it on the ward scale, which would involve us. This is the priority planting of the darker the color, the higher the priority for planting. And anyone who wants to learn about their ward can go and click on a ward, and it'll give, once it'll load, the specific information for each ward. Along with looking at the different layers, there's a lot more when it comes, we have the canopy when it comes to urban versus rural, private versus public. We can look at the possible areas of planting, the historic canopy, areas that have gained or lost canopies since 1985. We can look at the urban heat island, which includes data from 2013. And overall, it just provides a place for anyone, whether or not you're working for the city of Concord or just someone who lives there and wants to learn more about the nature that they're surrounded. We'll also be able to provide links to places where they could figure out where to start when it comes to planting more trees, or those other resources, with encouraging people to plant those native plant species and to plant pollinator gardens to benefit both them and the rest of the city of Concord.
Is this all your work?
Yes.
Is this dashboard your work?
Yes.
Outstanding.
This is incredible. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I needed to take a breath.
Sorry.
This is incredible work.
Wow.
Just incredible, and incredibly has such potential to be useful for the city.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm hoping that this can be a platform for possibly the future fellows, the future forestry members to build off of it, to improve it better than, because this is my first time doing this as well. So people to build off of it, to make improvements, and to be able to take it, because the only platform that I use that you have to pay for is ArcGIS Pro. And there's free alternatives that if someone who has a large amount of land wants to map their own canopy, they could do that easily online with the provided information methodology, which I'm also writing.
Beth, is this going to be available on the city
Yes,
website?
so we're meeting with Amy Willett, the acting GIS coordinator, tomorrow morning, just to figure out how to get all the data over to the city system. It'll be up on our website. We have concordnh.gov/trees, where we currently have most of our tree information. We'll be updating that with all of Danielle's research. I will say that she presented to the rest of the fellows last week, and a lot of the other municipalities were very jealous. They really liked this project. And we'll be sharing this out with the other communities that were part of the New England Municipal Sustainability Network, her methodology, so this can be replicated in other places across New England.
I'm sorry, I monopolized things because I was so impressed. Other comments, questions? Councilor Todd.
Thank you, Your Honor. Yeah, I certainly agree with everything that the mayor said. It's very impressive, and it looks like it's going to be really useful. And I also really appreciate the way it was done, because, dividing it by wards is very helpful to all of us, because we can, focus on a particular area. I'm in the red zone there, so I'm especially going to be interested once it's up and running to be able to look at that more closely, and then try to figure out ways to engage with the public so that they can become, more knowledgeable of what the potential is. And I know that Ms. Fenstermacher will help me with that also. Always. Just a quick comment, which is also, I don't really have a question, I guess, because you answered my question. Where is it going to be available to us? But just thank you for doing the work that you do. I think it's really valuable work. I wish you all the best of luck in the future, and thank you for your work here helping the city with this project. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you. It was my absolute pleasure. I had a wonderful summer.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, this is incredible. As a member of the tree committee, I love this. Now, you'd said that you're using data from 1985 up until what period? Like, there were just 255 trees cut down this year. Is that reflected on this?
The most recent data we have is until 2023.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Actually, follow up.
Mr. Brown?
Yes. Will this, is this something that you have to manually update?
Yes.
Okay.
As Beth mentioned, I will make sure they have access to everything, but many of this stuff is very easily updatable with web maps or web dashboards. So all you have to do is update one thing and it'll update the rest.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Can I just, oh, sorry.
All right, well, thank you so much. I'm sorry,
Oh,
Councilor
Michelle.
Horn.
I do not want to take away from Danielle at all. I just want to remind us that this very minuscule investment for this fellowship is something we took out of our budget and will not have access to next year.
It's a point well
So
taken.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll let
I
you-
just add one more comment?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure it's understood. So she went through a color analysis to make sure that this was accessible for all. So there was the color blindness test that was done. So some of the, I said, why is it green and pink? And she said, well, because of the way the colors are viewed in the different grades. So I just want to put that out there. That is meeting our accessibility requirements for color.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Councilor?
What is the investment for the sustainability fellow? What do we pay to get this incredible person and product?
So last year, the past 5 years, we paid $4,000 per year. But UNH changed the structure of the program, so it's going to be a lot more expensive in the future. They were able to get additional funding this past year to help us cover the change of the program last year so that we could have Danielle this summer. I had started conversations with other organizations that potentially they could sponsor a fellow for the city. And there are organizations out there that could potentially, we could do that.
Great. Follow?
Follow.
What is the total cost? Like you said, there's going to be an increase. How much is that?
Last year, it increased to 12,000.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
That's great. I have one more question. Do you have any relatives in the clergy? Yeah. I know other Meliuses, and it's a very unusual name, so. Just curious, folks that I traipsed around Nicaragua with, so, yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'll entertain a motion to accept the report.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. The report is accepted.
Thank you so much.
That was really great.
This takes us to a consideration of items pulled from the consent calendar. Madam City Clerk, item 22.
This was pulled from the consent agenda by Councilor Kretovic and Councilor Brown. It's a report from the Beaver Meadow Director of Operations recommending approval of proposed 2027 Beaver Meadow Golf Course rate structures as recommended by the Golf Course Advisory Committee at their July 9th, 2026 meeting.
We have a
Move
motion.
approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the council, the proposed rate structure is expected to generate approximately $91,000 in additional revenue for the 27-28 season. You'll recall during our budget discussions that the projected revenue over expenses for fiscal year 2026 was more than double what it was the year prior. That number for fiscal year 2025 was roughly $124,000. While we've not closed our fiscal year yet on 26, the gain is substantial. Now, consider an additional $91,000 above this. In sum, this is exactly the trajectory that we have wanted our golf course to be on while we are looking to open up our new clubhouse in the fall. At the same time, our rates remain competitive. The juniors continue to have significant opportunities to participate. We're growing the game of golf for women and attracting golfers away from our competitors. The question is not simply whether any individual rate has increased, but more importantly, if the overall rate structure is reasonable, competitive, affordable, and financially responsible. Our daily fees, some of the daily fee increases are higher than the rate of inflation. However, the appropriate comparison is to the local market. Beaver Meadow remains competitive with the area courses. The season pass holder rates Most proposed increases are modest. They're roughly 2 to 3%. These increases are at or below the current rate of inflation. The junior pass holder rate remains unchanged at $450. Junior golfers and youth participation is such an important part of Beaver Meadow Golf Course. And we need to look beyond the numbers of our junior season pass holders, which we have seen in decline over this past year, but we also think we have a very specific identifiable reason for that, which is the Bank of America Youth on Course program. It's performed exceptionally well, and we've been able to see the benefits of that this summer. What this program does, and we learned about this last year, is a youth on course pays $5 for a round of 9 holes of golf, and Bank of America picks up the other $8 for the cost of that round. Basically, what we've done is found an affordable way to involve juniors in the game of golf, and we see that it's working. A reminder that our revenue also comes from the driving range, the cart rentals, simulator league, and rentals in the winter, and our tournaments, especially from our local nonprofit organizations who are able to fundraise for their support of their mission throughout the year. And so I would ask you, in supporting the recommendation from the Golf Advisory Board, that every year looks at these rates very thoughtfully and very mindful of what this impact is to the city and to our city taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Brown.
Yes, thank you for asking people to consider this impact on taxpayers, because the council should remember that the Golf Fund continues to have a substantial reliance on taxpayers. The current debt service for just this year for capital projects on taxpayers is $764,000. That's just on taxpayers. $764,000 this year. That's more than a match for the skate house. That's more than renovating a pool. That is just for the golf course. And these projects, we are in debt until 2046. So these rates do not meet those costs. The users are not funding these costs. The debt service goes until 2046, and there are multiple discounted and complimentary memberships that are happening. There are employees that are able to play. The New Hampshire Golf Association continues to use the course for free. And there were 400 rounds that were donated to other organizations for marketing purposes. We have seen nothing that talks about the return on investment. If we were to have charged for those 400 rounds, that is a value between $14,000 and $38,000. This council, I think it was just last month, we paid $22,000 from savings for a backflow preventer. So this is money that we are leaving on the table. I have not seen, we should have the information, a return on investment for all of these deeply discounted rates. I'm astounded that we continue to pour so much money into the golf course when we have a public information officer that we are not using. We are giving away golf for marketing purposes. This cost is then going on to taxpayers. It's not being recouped. These rates, we can hold off and we can say to the Golf Advisory Committee, come back and have rates that will cover the cost. This is a special revenue fund. The water and wastewater are enterprise funds. The rates for those are going up. They're going up 9%, 20% next year because the users are paying those rates. The golf fund should be the same. If we are seeing steep increases to pay for water and wastewater, there is no reason why the golf fund cannot have the users fund their own course.
Councilor Horn.
Maybe Ms. DeLorean. The golf carts seem to be the only category that didn't have any increase. Was there a reasoning behind that particular?
We had a substantial increase last year. If you recall, we were at the end of our contract with the rental fleet for the carts, and the cost of that rental fleet was going up substantially. So we increased that pricing considerably last year in order to support the additional cost for that lease payment. So we thought that this year, and this was discussed at the Golf Advisory Committee, this year it made sense to hold that rate steady because of the substantial increase last year, and then take a look at it again next year to look at the rate projections as we go forward.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Ready for the vote? All those in favor of the motion as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Ayes
No.
have it. The motion is adopted. Motion passes. Madam City Clerk, item 23.
It is a resolution rescinding, oh, excuse me, it was pulled from consent by Councilor Brown. It's a resolution rescinding the appropriation of the sum of $434,334.50 in various community development block grant and grant donations projects to include $8,725.82 in community development block grant fund and $425,608.69 in the grants and donations fund, rescinding the acceptance of $434,334.50 in various community development grant and grants and donations funds, including $8,725.82 in community development block grant fund and $425,608.68 in the grants and donations fund, retroactive to June 30th.
Move approval.
That's a lot.
I move that we give some oxygen to the city clerk.
You poor thing.
Councilor Brown.
Yes, I had questions that I was unable to reach out to staff regarding these. So this is the second year that we are doing this, and I recognize in the report it states that these were hanging on from 2007 to 2026. And I'm wondering why we did not close out some of these last year when we did this.
Some of them could have been closed out last year. There might have been a variety of reasons that they were left on the books during that time. But this year we've worked hard in order to finish cleaning up the remaining items that are still out there as an authorization, but no anticipation of spending the money or getting any revenue back from it. So this is not like we're giving up money. It's just money that, really hasn't been spent, and there's not going to be any application for any additional funds for it.
Follow-up?
Follow-up.
Are there any, so after doing this kind of cleanup, are there any other outstanding grants beyond 2026?
Yeah, we're gonna have grants all the time, and basically what we do is we're gonna take a look at them each and every year, like we do. We've been doing it with the capital closeout for many years. We haven't been doing it with grant closeout until last year. So this is gonna continue on. We think we've cleaned up the majority of the long outstanding items. This is kind of a housekeeping thing. So you'll still see additional items come forward. Something that was approved that were no longer needed. Those will be brought forward in future years for the City Council to take action to deauthorize that funding so that there's no funds spent against it when there's no chance of getting the dollars back as well. So.
Mr. Acting City Manager, can I kind of paraphrase and you tell me whether I'm saying this correctly? The majority of these funds are funds that have been granted to us on a reimbursement basis. So we have to spend the money, then we go to the federal government, whoever the grantor is, and they pay us back for what we've spent. And what we're doing here is cleaning up, say we had a $300,000 grant, but we only spent $250,000 of it, and we're reimbursed the $250,000 by the federal government. Well, we still have $50,000 on the book, but it's not money sitting in an account in most instances. There are a couple of instances here where there is money, and the recommendation is to put it into the revolving loan fund, which is used for housing purposes and short-term grants or low-interest grants, correct?
You did an amazing job explaining that. I hope during the rest of my career here I'll be able to learn.
As long as you keep buying me coffee.
You got it.
Councilor Brown.
That is
Yes.
correct.
I had not pulled item number 24, but I was curious if any of these could have been applied to item number 24.
Completely different things. This really doesn't correlate to that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any
Move
other
the question.
questions?
Move the question.
Second vote. I think we're ready to take the vote.
Okay,
All
let's
right,
do it.
all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The motion is approved. Motion passes. This brings us to the comments section. We'll start this time around with Council Flood.
Wow.
That's not fair.
Got me off guard there. Two quick things. One is I think it was a week ago tonight, National Night Out, great community event at Rollins Park, attended by a number of people in the community and from afar. So it was a nice showing by our public safety people and community members in the different groups that had displays. And then secondly, it's my understanding that Deputy Chief Steve Smagula retired, and I didn't know until after the fact, and if he's out listening to this, which I'm sure he's probably not, congratulations, thank you for your service, and best of luck.
Thank you, Councilor Floyd. Councilor Brown.
Yes, I hope everyone has an opportunity to get over to the Sunflower Festival. It is just an absolutely incredible field. It is transformed. The sunflowers are so beautiful, they look fake. The flowers attract everyone from all over. I had an opportunity to attend the dinner, and there was a couple who came up from Arlington, Mass, and they said that dinner was similar to other dinners they had attended in New York, Long Island, that cost $450. This one was $130. So I hope everyone has an opportunity to go to the Sunflower Fest, see the vendors there. It's only the 4th year, but they have truly transformed that space, and it's beautiful. We are the Sunflower City because of them.
Thank you. Councilor Slosser.
Yeah, I just have a brief appreciation for Parks and Recreation. There's been really a lot of activity in Rollins Park. There's a pollinator festival that was really wonderful. Obviously, Councilor Foote mentioned the National Night Out, which had many people there. Sunday, there was an arts festival with music, which was really wonderful. And then the music in the park. And I know other parks have had music festivals, and so it was really fun to use our parks in the summer and have people come out and enjoy it. So thank you to all the Parks and Recreation team.
Councilor Caleb.
Okay, so there's an exciting event this week. The Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire will be unveiling its first marker in Concord to honor baseball player and founding member of the Sunset League, Billy Thompson, who was a Concord resident beginning in 1890. This event is taking place at White Park this Wednesday, the 12th at 6 p.m. There's another awesome event coming up, Franco Fest, on August 22nd, which is going to be a celebration of French and French diaspora cultures. I heard or I saw online they were the recipient of the Event Arts Grant this year, which helped make this cultural celebration free for the public to attend. So definitely check it out. It's at Kimball Jenkins. There's food, activities, music, etc. And let's see, I had a couple of some words of appreciation. So first, I want to give a shout out to our communications professionals at the city. Stephanie Breton is the one behind the City of Concord's external communications, and Angelina Zulik? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Angelina. Runs the general services communications. Both are really such important jobs because they shape how the public gets information where they normally are, which is, social media, online, all of that. Sort of the front line of interactions for the public, and I'm sure that job can be quite challenging. I love when they get creative with content, and I saw a great post this past week from General Services about the repair of the water main on South State Street, which I was so looking forward to. I'm so excited that work is completed, and it was really cool to see the video that Angelina posted. I find that stuff really interesting, and apparently so do a lot of other people online. So keep up the great work, Stephanie and Angelina. And finally, I would like to acknowledge and thank the firefighters who welcomed myself and Councilor Schultz on a few little station tours in the last few weeks. We had the opportunity to tour these facilities, ask questions, and I know I generally learned a lot about these operations, which is an education that I know will serve me well in the future. So Councilor Schultz and I went to Station 1 Central, Station 7 the Heights, and Station 5 Manor. And last but certainly not least will be Broadway. And one extra shout out to the Manor, because when we toured, I had just a couple days prior been with a friend who needed EMS transport to the hospital. And they were the ones who responded to the call. And I don't know when the last time was present for an EMS transport, maybe never. And it was a stressful moment. They came in and they had such a calming presence, and their professionalism was, not surprising at all, but very much appreciated. So thank you. That's all I got.
Councilor Keach?
I'll pass.
All right.
Well said,
Councilor
thank
Sexton?
you.
All right. Councilor Kurtz? Councilor Schultz?
Kurtz, just kidding. I don't know, I'm in a snappy mood today. Speaking of communicators, I want to thank Councilor Caleb for wonderful videos and coverage of those visits at our fire stations. You do a great job lifting up our city, and you do it for free, and we appreciate it. And I also enjoyed my visits one more to go. Mr. LeBrun, is this your last council meeting with us?
It is.
I don't know, maybe I don't want to preempt anything the mayor may say, but since you happen to be a constituent of mine in Ward 9, I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed working with you in my short time on the council. And we all owe you a debt of gratitude for all you've done for the city and for the people of Concord. So thank you.
Thank you.
Here, here. Here, here.
I know you don't do it for a thanks, but you got one anyway. I'm also excited, this is a different kind of transition to say this, but Madam Clerk and her office have released the sample ballots for September 8th state primary. There are quite a few primaries in both parties. All the federal races have primaries in both parties. There is wards 5, 6, 7, 8. The Floterial race has a Democratic primary. There are quite a few Republican primaries up and down the ballot, depending on your ward. So please check out your ballots ahead of time. I hope all eligible Concord voters will go, and if you aren't registered, you can register at the polls. And you can take that time to research the candidates that will be on the ballot, because there are quite a few primaries on the ballot. And besides, it's fun to see who all's on what ballot you're going to get. You get a preview. So thank you to the clerk's office and Madam Clerk, and for your volunteers that are supervisors of the checklist, et cetera, for all the hard work you do for us, since we don't have a city council meeting before that day. So thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I walked out the door this morning to hold up this book that the DEIJB committee is reading, but it's not actually this book. It's called I Never Thought of It That Way. I would recommend the members of the council, since I grabbed the wrong book, to grab the right book. It's really a nice read about how to have difficult conversations with people that are, have opposing views on a wide range of things. One of the things that struck me, and I run across this in human resources all the time, is, you're sitting at the water bubbler and someone will say, geez, somebody keeps stealing all the toilet paper out of the restroom. And it's that moment of pause that somebody has to take toilet paper home because they can't afford it. And we need to rethink the way we sometimes have our conversations. It was really enlightening. I get to say I finished the book and I meant to bring it, and I was a total failure for our committee, but please don't fail us. Read it with us. It really is a good read. Second, I wanted to say I did bring this because Stephanie Breton printed it out for me. It's Golf with a Cop. This is the counterpart to Ski with the Cop that we had over the winter with Ski the Beeve. This is in association with the Volunteers of Friends of the Beeve, but more importantly with our police department, so that our youth in our community can get to know our police officers. And the golf course has set up some wonderful games for the kids. It's a putting contest, a chipping contest, a driving range contest, so none of it is going to impact on-course play, but it is equipment provided and an opportunity to see how well our police officers perform with a putter or a chipper or a driver. And you'll notice that Bailey, our new dog, is holding a putter in the poster. It is on August 20th. It's from 4 to 6 p.m., so perfect time for those after school, after summer programs, that the kids can come and really meet our police officers up front, close and personal, and play some fun games out on the golf course practice areas. And the last thing I have is the Sunflower Festival is an amazing event in our city, and I think it's a great opportunity for people to go and see the last contiguous piece of agricultural land that we have in Merrimack County. We, as the City Council, we're the ones that protected that land under the Gully Hill Conservation Committee, and I think that we owe ourselves a nice pat on the back for preserving this land, but also turning it into something that is a little bit more healthier for the soil as we reinvigorate the nitrates into the soil with the sunflowers and the lavender. And I can attest, per my granddaughter, they have the biggest four-leaf clovers along the Merrimack River Greenway Trail that she has ever seen. So I strongly recommend that you go, and I can tell you from personal experience, there are thousands of them. So go take the children. They can pick four-leaf clover and really have a fantastic moment making a wish as they look at our state capitol and enjoy our Sunflower Festival. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Horn.
I would echo Councilors Brown and Kretovic on the Sunflower Festival. We can enjoy it through Sunday, and I did check all of the tickets are sold out for the dinners, but they do have tickets left for the Sips and Sunnies event on Friday, which is New England Bluegrass Band Trio. You can go in over 21, age 21 plus, and you can enjoy drinks from Pours and Pedals, which is the Concord-based mobile bar that they have in there, and listen to music, look at the beautiful sunflowers, and have a great evening on Friday night.
Thank you. Councilor Todd.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. As promised, I do want to, I'm going to actually echo what Councilor Schlosser said and give a shout out and extra thanks to our Concord Parks and Rec Department as well for all of their diligent work, even throughout the 4th of July, the fireworks. I mean, you're right, the list goes on and on. And it's all executed so well. And specifically, I want to just give another reference to the Free Parks concerts at our Canal Street Riverfront Park. These are on Wednesdays, 6:30 to 8, and coming up on August 12th is Lee and Dr. G. August 26th is Lucas and the Guys. And I specifically also want to give a real thanks and gratitude to the Walker, our friends at the Walker Lecture Fund, for their continued support for these kinds of concerts. It's just great to be able to, as Councilor Horn was describing, great to be able to have this available for our community to go to a concert, go next door, go get an ice cream or whatever it is, and just be outside and enjoy the free music with a great view of the water as well. So just a thank you again to Walker Lecture. Thanks.
Well, most of what I was going to say has already been touched upon by others. I will, however, reiterate and encourage folks to come to White Park on Wednesday at 6 to be present for the unveiling of the Bill Thompson marker, his project, which is very important to the city, I think, and the first, I hope, of several Black Heritage Trail markers in Concord. And he's not here right now, but I do want to thank David Gill, Parks and Rec's director, for all the work he put into it, as well as the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire for being a great partner, and also a number of civic-minded citizens who helped make it happen. I also do want to say this, since this is your last City Council meeting, Mr. LeBrun, I did not bring you a box of chocolates, but I did bring you a box of gratitude, a great big heaping box of gratitude. In my now 13 years on City Council, you have been a rock of stability, a reliable source of information, a master at budget analysis and budget explanation. You are a big part of why this city has been successful. We have our moments, we have our challenges, and we always will. But you certainly have done sterling service to the city of Concord. And I wish you well in your retirement. I want to express my appreciation for you delaying your retirement so that you could be acting city manager during the city manager's sabbatical. But I know that once you shake the dust off your shoes or sandals and go on to enjoying your retirement, you'll be able to look back with a great deal of satisfaction and pride in what you've achieved here. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I would like to say a couple things, really, Ron, and it's thank you very much for the opportunity to work for the City of Concord. It's been great. I've had a great career here, and I really appreciate all the work and effort that everybody does. And I just want to remember that I want everybody to remember that there's 500 people out there that are doing great work every single day. You know, I get to sit in that other chair, you know, once a month. You know, I get to sit in my office. You know, I get to sit up here once in a great while. But there's really, you know, hundreds and hundreds of other people that are doing fantastic work, and, you know, keep remembering them and all the work they do. And, but I appreciate the opportunity to work here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The meeting is adjourned.